Hi, friends. I'm Lindsey Tosoni. I'm a transformational and holistic life coach who specializes also in somatic work. I love, love, love working with women who have spent their lives self abandoning. They are lost in motherhood. They are stuck in fight, flight, or freeze trauma responses, and they just feel dead inside and they are ready to reconnect and feel joy again. Okay. And I just wanted to share a little bit about my story and how I got to where I am today and helping others achieve the same. So I am a recovering people pleaser. I was a people pleaser for the majority of my life. When I was a little girl, I learned that putting my needs aside, my emotions aside, my boundaries aside was how I survived my upbringing. And I didn't have, a crazy traumatic upbringing, but there was no emotional security. And what I've come to learn over the years is that for somebody who is highly sensitive like me, emotional security is everything, right? And what's going on in the environment around us is everything because we're taking on and feeling everything that's going on. And then if there's no one there to kind of walk us through what's going on or talk to us or validate what we're feeling, we're left feeling really alone. We're left feeling like we just have to carry this weight and there's no one that really understands. Okay. So I grew up feeling very alone, very by myself. I felt like I love my parents to death and they know that I talk about this stuff. And I come from a family where all of us are doing the work simultaneously. So it's a pretty cool dynamic to be a part of. And for most of us who grew up as people pleasers, which is really just a trauma response, we end up taking that into our teenage years and our adult life. And then we wake up one day and we're like, what happened? How am I so disconnected? Why can I not feel my joy? Where is my life? Like as a little girl, I had these big dreams for my life and I'm completely disconnected from what I even want or like or desire or need. How do we get so far away from that? So I ended up getting into a marriage way too fast and I just jumped into it. And I know that he jumped into it with me. And essentially, that entire relationship, I realized later, post divorce, that I was self abandoning. And so then looking back on divorce and my entire marriage, I was like, wow, this makes so much sense why I showed up the way that I did, why he showed up the way that he did. And so it really was not until my divorce that all of this really deep healing initiated. So I had been on a healing journey and self-growth since I was a teenager. I was able to walk on fire, walk on coals at a Tony Robbins seminar when I was 15 years old. And my parents just immersed me into these cool workshops and self-development. And so that was my foundation, but I also simultaneously had all of this trauma affecting and running my life. Fast forward to divorce, and I just threw myself in, and it became a very, unfortunately, traumatic divorce. And so I was essentially living in fight or flight for probably a 6-month period of time where every single day I was getting up and fighting and just trying to show up for my kids while going through all of this drama and chaos and legal stuff. And it was the most brutally hard thing I had ever been through. I remember calling my mom, who lives 2 hours away, and bawling my eyes out to her and just saying, Mom, I need you to come here now. And it was like I was just being thrown arrows from every direction and trying to keep up with what was being thrown at me while having 3 kids, breastfeeding one of them who was only 6 months old at the time. And it was just a living hell. But this is where faith comes in. And so even within all of these really dark times, there's always this little inner knowing that this is not forever. This is just a really hard chapter that you're going through right now, and you are meant for more. When people throw arrows at us and weapons at us, right? My affirmation was, any weapon formed against me, God will turn into good and bless me tenfold. Any weapon formed against me God is going to turn it around for good and bless me tenfold. That was my affirmation. So I was in the pit and just feeling like I will never get out of this place, but also at the same time, knowing that I was meant for more and my kids deserved the best version of me. So I threw myself into healing. One of the first things I did was neurofeedback because I literally was having so much anxiety and panic and I couldn't think straight. Neurofeedback helped me be able to get through a day. Not that I had fully come out of fight or flight, but it had helped tremendously. And from there, I started diving back into healing work. I was going to therapy. I was doing different certifications. I started learning about the nervous system. This was the biggest key for me because prior to that, for the majority of my life, I had been living in a freeze response. So it's like you think you're going somewhere, it's like you're running on a hamster wheel and you're not really getting anywhere fast, right? That's freeze. When you have 500 million things to do, but yet you have no idea where to start. And then you're at the end of the day and you're like, what just happened with my day? Where did it go? That is freeze. That's what I was perpetually stuck in. But during divorce, I was majorly in fight mode. So I dove into healing work. I started learning about the nervous system. And the nervous system work was the piece I was missing most in my healing journey. So I had tried to conceptualize my way out of trauma, out of unworthiness, try to figure it out from a mental perspective. And what I learned is that you heal trauma in your body because body is what holds and stores it. So that is where you must approach it from. Most people approach healing trauma from a top-down approach where you start in your mind and you talk about things, which can be and is very helpful to bring awareness. But trauma healing and getting your nervous system on board with the life you want to create is a bottom-up approach, which means you start in the body. And this was life-changing for me, like absolutely life-changing. I learned to actually sit with the emotions that I had been avoiding and denying for years and years and years of feeling. And by the way, most of us have these core emotional wounds that we carry. And essentially, they're like goggles in which we're viewing life. So we're viewing life from these wounds that happened to us decades ago. Okay. So the fear of abandonment, the fear of betrayal, feeling lonely, unworthiness, all of these originate in childhood. And so you kind of have to go back and just allow yourself to feel what that felt like in the moment and allow that emotion to process so that it can come to a completion and you can move forward from it. So there's so many different approaches to healing. When I talk to my own clients, I share and I walk them through all of the tools that I have. But healing is also a continuous search of what's working for you because everybody's so different, right? And there's different therapies that people love and then other people don't love. And so it's just continuing to seek. You are a perpetual seeker. You're going to continue seeking to better yourself, to heal, to be a better mom. And so I just want to share with you that another life is possible for you. And I'm not saying that you have to go through divorce. That was what I needed in my life. But it is so possible for you to come back online, to not have to live in fight, flight, or freeze, and to feel connected to who you are, to your desires, to your boundaries, to your needs, your wants, your emotions, and to live that out from a place where you're able to access your joy. We are not meant to just be mom martyrs, right? Like, yes, we are going to do everything in our power to be the best parents we can for our kids and to give them everything that they possibly need. And at the same time, we are still women. We are still human beings. The perfect example is putting your oxygen mask on before you're able to put others' oxygen mask on. In society today, we have so much shame and guilt, mom guilt around, getting our nails done or going out for a walk on by ourselves. Like, let's be done. That's one of my favorite things to say. Let's be done with this toxic behavior. We don't have to do that anymore, okay? So listen, if you are feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you are ready to live life feeling alive again and connected to who you are, and share that with your family, right? Your family gets to benefit from that too. I want you to fill out the form below, and I'm going to reach out to you, and I just want to have a quick chat with you and see how we can get you to that place. I will give you actionable steps to start off with of how you can get there. And listen, you are so deserving of it. You're so worthy of it. And I would be so honored to work with you, alongside you, to help you walk through your own fire so that you can get to that place. Sending you all my love, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.